Welcome to Business Wit's Better Business Results. My name is John Witt, and I'm your host. Today our guest is Jackie Lapin, and Jackie is the founder of Speakertunity. Jackie, thanks for joining us.
I'm so delighted to be here, John. This is just a delight to be with you and your community.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And so start off by telling people a little bit about what Speakertunity is, and even more importantly, why did you start Speakertunity?
Well, Speakertunity, it provides people with a message, coaches, transformational leaders, direct contacts where they can book themselves for speaking engagements, radio shows, podcasts, and virtual summits. And the reason that I created these 3 subscription services is because, so many people are craving the opportunity to find their audience, to attract more people into their business, sell more books, grow their communities, and change more lives. And so many people came to me and asked me whether, I've been a publicist and serving both the mainstream, but for many years, and then more recently, the leaders in the world. They came to me and they kept saying, well, would you promote me for more speaking engagements? And I thought, why not just give them the information and then make it economical so that they don't have to pay a PR agency or a speaker service or, a big one if they want. This is something that they can do on their own. And that was the first iteration of Speakertunity. And we're very, very excited. We launched Speakertunity Speaker Leads about a year and a half ago, and we added Speakertunity Radio Insider and Speakertunity Summits earlier this year. So they're really wonderful opportunities to get people out into the world so that they can have a bigger footprint.
Well, that's awesome, and that's kind of what attracted me to you in the first place when I met you a few weeks ago. Let's talk a little bit more about who most benefits. Now, you mentioned transformational leaders, and you mentioned coaches. Any particular type, or share a little bit more?
Well, it's pretty much almost anybody in those spaces, but it's also people who have a message of healing or personal growth or something that improves us and improves the planet, whether that's also how to build a heart-based business. If you have a skill that teaches somebody to build a heart-based business, to attract people to how to write a book, how to speak more, how to attract more people, client attraction, those kinds of tools and resources that if you're coaching those kinds of things, it fits into this category as well. So it's across the board. If you're in service to humans and humanity and the growth of businesses that are helping people live their passion, then that's the folks that are within it. Coaches of all different stripes really can get benefit from it.
At the end of the day, it's a service-based or helping-based, people with a passion to make a difference, to help others be more effective and help others get their lives in a better position and a better place. So
well, and we did
helping them to do that. I think that's awesome.
Exactly, and these are really very much oftentimes overlooked. Speakers Bureau, they look for people with that big business platforms and, huge motivational platforms and a variety of kinds that are very specific. But these are kind of the people that fall in between. They need to fill a business and they're, in their community. And so we wanted to give something to them that would give them that ease to do that, where they really weren't getting serviced in any other way. But these are the people who appeal to my heart because my goal is to help make the world a better place. And so that really, I want to serve the people who are the messengers of the world. And so that's really how we came to where we are in providing Speakertunity to the world.
Well, okay. So again, we've got coaches, we've got transformational leaders, and in terms of them getting their message out, think of what are the 3 challenges and problems that they experience?
Well, most of the time, they don't have the time to go looking for this. They're so busy in their businesses that research time is a factor that discourages them.
Right.
And then the fact is that they also are overwhelmed by other kinds of things, that this is the thing that gets brushed under the rug. So we're making it so simple and easy for them to actually get to and find these engagements, because we give them the names, the phone numbers, and the emails of the contact people, so that they don't have to be doing that. We find that another thing that discourages people is they don't know where to look, and how to get started on it. So we kind of bridge that gap because we're giving it to them and they're already set and ready to go. And we've vetted these kinds of different organizations. And for radio shows, they're the same radio shows that I've been booking for years, doing radio media tours for personal growth authors. I have a database of 3,000 personal growth radio shows, 400 health and wellness, 500 podcasts. And so we've just rated that list for folks. Podcasts are, of course, the coming thing. And so and then the last factor is that they really just don't carve out some time in their schedule.
Plus,
And
you've got
so
time, and they don't know how, and they don't know the value, and you provide answers to all of those. And you kind of started to answer my next question, which was how do you solve that, which is really all about your background and your experience. But would you go through that again real quick?
Oh, absolutely. So I actually started out, believe it or not, as one of the first women sports writers in America. And I segued into having one of the largest sports special events PR agencies in America. And after some years, I wrote 2 books in personal growth, and I thought, that's where my heart is. And so I shifted the agency and became Conscious Media Relations. And so we've been servicing those kinds of experts for the last 10 years. But many of those people then came to me and said, can you book me for speaking engagements? And and for us at that time, it really didn't make a whole lot of sense. But I had a lot of data on where they could get these speaking engagements. And by extension, we realized that there were a couple of other areas that they really needed. One was radio shows and podcasts, and we already had that as well. But the one area that we added was virtual summits, because so many people, when they learn about a virtual summit, it shows up on their desk when it's already booked. And we thought we could really fill that gap by providing a direct contacts for virtual summits that had open guest presenter seats, and we're actually the first ones that are doing that. So the progression was very, very natural, and I'm excited to say that on top of Speakertunity, which is really inexpensive, it's only $35 a month each one of those categories. So you can pick and choose which ones you want for $35 a month, or you can have more than one. In addition to that, we've just added a new service, which is Speakertunity Concierge. So if you really don't want to do it yourself, we'll do it for you. But that's a much more extensive program, and it is only focused on local meetings in your market, local conferences, local opportunities, and virtual and things. It's not big conferences. It's not major events with 500 people. It's going to be local meetings. And so if that's going to build your business, then we can now do we have a do it yourself and a done for you version.
Okay, and real quick, also talk about, you mentioned a teaching component where you're teaching people how to make these things happen. It was a 5-point program.
So essentially, now that you're committing to go out and find your engagements, a lot of times the other barrier for folks is that they don't know how to write the materials that are actually going to get them booked. They are either intimidated or they don't have the really knowledge to do that. So we have a training called Get Booked Training. It's also on the speakertunity.com website. And in that, we teach you the 5 elements that you would need: how to write your speaker one sheet, how to write the letter to the speaker booker to make them really want you irresistibly, how to write your radio TV pitch letter, the one that really wows those radio show hosts and producers.
Gets them to say, yeah,
how to write
please,
the media kit.
Yeah,
to get on the show, exactly. To write the media kit that's going to inform them and help them sell you on the air. And then lastly, the last one combines how to write the pitch to the virtual summit hosts with a lot of very good list building skills and contacts, because some of those summits say you have to have 2,000 or 5,000 people in your email list before they'll admit you. So we tell you how to get those lists up, those numbers up, so that you can qualify for even more virtual summits.
Oh,
so that's the whole program.
So you were a little like an A to Z program. Certainly, you're providing help to them to finding these different places, but also teaching them how to get there and get to that next level for their particular package. So it could be somebody that's just starting out. It could be somebody that's kind of stuck and doesn't know how to get to the next place. All kinds of opportunities, all kinds of different services, and literally all kinds of different price points. There's some very low investment activities, and I'm certain some of those cost a little bit more. But talk to me a little bit then. So talk to me a little bit about what people say, people that have joined your Speakertunity service.
Well, we're getting rave reviews on both the service and the training. The service, some people are saying that they're basically subscribing so that as they travel and they book their speaking engagements, they know what's in the markets where they're going to. Other people are saying that in their markets, we had one gal say, I got 3 things in 3 months. This is worth every penny that I'm getting. I mean, and we're only talking $35 a month. What's your time worth? Anywhere from $100 to $300 an hour.
Well, who knows? Yeah, right, exactly.
They're also saying things like, this is unparalleled value because I don't have to do the work anymore, and I've got bookings. And so the whole picture is under the category of get booked. We're going to help you get booked one way or another. And so, when their experience, we've got several people who've done their one sheets now off the training program, and they're really excited about them because they look professional. They have this kind of pizzazz that makes them sound exciting. So, it's really fabulous to get this kind of feedback. And I just worked with actually some publicists are actually using our radio show, Speakertunity Radio, because it's augmenting what they're already doing. And one of them came back and said, oh my God, I got 5 leads right off good bookings off the very first one.
Yeah.
So and by the way, on Speakertunity Radio Insider, we actually have 2 dedicated podcasts that are business podcasts on every one. So we cover everything from, people that are interested in personal growth and in general broadcast radio, to specialty shows that are interested in recovery and addiction, to relationships, to just personal success and breaking through barriers. And so we kind of make sure that we have, and books, stuff for authors. We kind of make sure that we have a lot for everybody. And really, authors are another really important category for us because they're always looking to get out and sell more books.
You have to promote your material, your book somehow.
And in fact, Speakertunity, Speaker Leads has 2 bookstores that are presentation friendly, that actually love having people in and will tell their communities about you. So in every issue, and you get about 120, 25 leads over the course of a month from Speakertunity Speaker Leads. You get 25 to 30 radio and podcasts for radio to Speakertunity Radio, and Speakertunity Summits. You get anywhere from 15 to 40 summits.
Wow. I've switched using the word leads and talking more about opportunities. I like the way opportunities, because that's
why we're called Speakertunity.
Yeah. So so tell me, when people sign up and start to experience your service, is there anything that they find a surprise benefit?
I think it's how easy this is. The fact that it takes so much off of them from a responsibility standpoint. All they really need to do is make sure they have compelling materials and start offering themselves. And sure, they're going to get turn downs, and but here's one of the things that everybody should know. Most bookers are looking 3 to 4 months out. So as you start, you need to realize that they're going to be booked for the first 2 or 3 months. So
it's not going to happen tomorrow.
You have to look ahead.
Okay. All right. Well, that's awesome. Okay. So part of the show, give us some tips. Give the transformational leader, the coach, some tips on how to improve or get booked or improve their speaking opportunities.
Well, the first thing is they really have to be visible, because if your business isn't growing, it's because not enough people know about you. So you really have to get out there. And in their face, so to speak, and wherever they may be. So don't hide your light under a bushel, essentially. The second is you have to make the time to market. And one of the things that I say to people that are doing the speaker leads aspect of this in particular is you have to book 3 hours a week on your calendar. Make an
3
appointment
hours.
with
Yeah.
yourself.
Hmm.
That's right, because that's where you're going to really get the maximum value, the most bookings, if you really commit yourself to that. And don't limit yourself to what we have in the Speakertunity speaker tip sheets either. But one of the nice things that we have is we'll define an organization that has national chapters, and we'll say, go here to find your local chapters. So you can maybe look around in other markets all around you if you find an organization that's right for you.
Right.
Another thing is don't fear rejection. If you're going to do that, then you don't want to, you're going to get turned down. Just keep going at it and going at it and work at it. And the last thing I was going to say is be prepared. Have all those materials really. One of the things, in addition to having the great speaker one sheet we talked about, or your radio TV pitch letter, is when it comes to speaking engagements, one of the things you might want to have is video of you speaking on stage. What they really want to see is how good you are in front of an audience.
No.
And so it's not the nice little video from you talking to your community online. They have to see you in front of a stage, and it should be 3 to 5 minutes and really compelling video showing how dynamic you are.
That is, it's interesting as you went through that. As a business coach, I teach sales, right? And what you did is you just lined up 4 steps for sales for speakers. I mean, that's really what it is. You got to get out there, you got to do the marketing, you got to be prepared, and you got to be prepared to handle the word no, because the word no happens.
Right.
It's just life. But that was great. I really appreciate that. Now you've also been an entrepreneur, a business owner, somebody that's been running a own practice business for a long time, not just Speakertunity, but other areas as well. So if you wouldn't mind, share the 3 biggest, or whatever biggest insights, the lessons you've learned, maybe from the School of Hard Knocks, over the course of your career.
Well, the first one is one that I learned from my father, and that's integrity. If you have integrity in business, then you have a leg up, because so many people are used to experiencing people that don't really give value. They may tease, they may cut the corners, they may be in it all for themselves. If they don't necessarily make good on their commitments. If you don't have integrity, that's when your business will begin to slide. You have to have that. That's the most important factor of when you're engaging in business. So the second one is business is building relationships. It's not a sprint, it's a marathon, and you really have to be in there to make sure that everybody gets value. So sometimes that means compromise. It means not necessarily getting entirely what you want. It's sometimes it's waiting for the long game, but you really are working to build those kinds of relationships so that you can go back to people again and again and again, and they love you. And that's frankly the area that I think that I'm strongest at and that I love the most. So
I think the long game is really important, because business is the long game. It's not
yeah,
about tomorrow.
absolutely. And the last one is you got to give back. And that is, or give in some way. So it means giving value, to get people to, work with you. But it also means giving charitably and contribute. It also means if you're going to do joint venture programs, that you can commit and fulfill your obligations to do the reciprocal part of that. So you have to give to make sure that you, in fact, will receive. It's not a one-way ticket, it's both ways. Those are the 3 things that I think are the most important that I have experienced.
Oh, I love it. Thank you. This is an example of giving back. You're actually taking your time and your energy to help people. You're not getting paid for this. I mean, this is just you helping people through these videos to be better at speaking opportunities, and where to find speaking opportunities, and how to be better business owners, or how to be better entrepreneurs. So really appreciate the time and the energy on that activity.
You're most welcome. I find a lot that I do a lot of webinars with people. And 75% of the time has to be value. 25 can be the sales pitch, but 75 has to be value, because then people will trust you.
Right. Well, yeah, and if you've given them a lot of value, then they might be willing to listen to, the opportunity that you have for them, right? Where you can
Exactly.
enhance their services or enhance their results in some other form or fashion. All right, so Jackie, one of the things I want to do is, and because you're in sort of the training and the coaching space, I thought it'd be really kind of cool to share sort of a little presentation that we do on the difference between training and coaching, and then we can have a little discussion because I think there's a lot of confusion in the marketplace about the difference between training and coaching. And so, you up for that?
Sure, you
Okay.
bet.
All right. So in the beginning, the first slide really is all about training, and it's about the risk reward for training and coaching. And so as we look at this, the risk for training is pretty high, right? Because you don't know how well it's going to be received, right? And the reward might be pretty good, might be pretty good. And but if you do some follow up, if you do any follow up with your training, you know, automatically your
Hmm.
results are going to get a little bit better. And then if you were to actually do some coaching, where you're actually solving and creating one-on-one activity, that's where you're going to get the best results. Now, that risk reward thing is really important, but a lot of people are interested in the investment and the return. Now, one of the things about training is it's usually a pretty low cost investment. And you can buy training materials. A book is considered training in many, many ways. Um, Now, we could also take a look at sort of a middle level investment, which is training plus some group coaching. And then we've got this thing called training with one-on-one coaching. And what's really interesting here is that, with one-on-one coaching, you're going to get the best return, but you also have the highest investment. But if you're interested in the best return, this is the right way to go. With little group coaching, and this one here is one where a lot of people put in because the investment is less. You're sharing some time, but you're still going to get some better deal. But if you just have training, the best you're going to get is sort of a good return, and that's just the way the training model works. And so what we're seeing here is that training and coaching is going to give you a combination of the best. We'll talk a little bit more about why we think that's the case in just a minute. And so then if we take a look at coaching and we look at the risk and reward, right? And so what we have here is we've got sort of the status quo. This is like no coaching. Well, you're going to get what you get, not necessarily the best return. And then if we take a look at, training and follow up with coaching, obviously we're going to get a better return. And then if we've got one-on-one coaching, then we have our best return. I mean, that's the risk reward with respect to coaching and training, in this particular case, coaching. And if we take a look at the training side of it, same thing. We've got the status quo. This means you're not doing anything. And we've got training with some follow-up. And we've got one-on-one coaching. And so here you're going to see, hey, the results for status quo, they're just not so good. If you're not getting the results that you want, it's going to continue unless you do something different. If you do some training, do some follow-up coaching, again, a little bit better. And ultimately, one-on-one coaching is going to give you your best return. But if you think about return on investment, which is going to be the return you get over the investment, I think you're going to see in this model here, you see that training with some follow-up is going to give you a better return on investment. But if you want the best return, the best set of dollar return, it's going to be in that one-on-one coaching space. Now, when you are working in your business and when you're working in your practice and you're teaching and the way I look at it is this: people need to know how to do something before they can learn how to do it well. And so there's always going to be some training. So if you're going to do sales training or marketing, you say, this is how it works. This is how the process goes. And then once you know how to do it, then you could work on getting better at doing it. So what's your experience in that area?
Well, I think everybody loves the 5 modules that we have in our training program, but when they go to actually write all those materials, they need some guidance. And so we have a master class that occurs after they've gone through the program, where I will take, if there's only one person on, I'll spend the time with one person. If there's 6 people on it, I'll spend the time with 6 people, and we'll go through their materials and we'll really hone them, and I'll tell them what works and what will work better, and then ultimately I'll look at the final ones and I'll say, okay, change this, move this, add this in here. I think you need that. And so by the time they're done, we've given them all 3 different levels really of coaching in some aspect of it. The training, the one-on-one, the group, and then the one-on-one.
You
And
went through all of
so
them, yeah.
yeah, and so ultimately the result will be the end result of providing all of those. Now, we don't, I don't stay with them for months and months and months it's getting them to the materials that they have that will be of value to them. So once they're done, then they're off on their own. So, but it's I find that that's the best results for the client is
Well,
that they have
I
different
look at
aspects of
training,
it.
and you can go if you scour the internet, you can find tons of content on just about any subject. And you can go to YouTube and you can do how-to videos, and it'll train you what the steps are, right? Is follow these 5 steps, fill out these 5 forms, do this. It doesn't mean you're going to do it well. It just means you know how. And so
Exactly.
to me, the next step, whether you do it in a group format or you do it down into the one-on-one level, right, is about, how do we get better? And it just comes to do with practice. And with a coach, the coach, has this experience. They can go in and they can say, hey, look, if you were to shift here or shift there or shift there, that's how you're going to get a little bit better. Otherwise, you're stuck inside your own head trying to figure out how to get better. And who knows how long that's going to take before you get to that level of excellence because you're just not, you're not an expert. That idea of moving from knowing how to do it to a degree of professionalism or expertise, there's a space and time there, and some things are easier to do than others. So learning to be
Well,
a public speaker, I wouldn't put that in the easy category.
well, and one of the things where I see them sort of get stuck is trying to figure out where to start. What's the actual essence of what they're trying to say? What's the lead? What's the headline? Once we get them over that, because they've got their material put together when they've gone through the module, and so that's where they oftentimes need a little bit of help over the bridge, and then they're off on their own.
One thing I think that says this is what you're going to say, and then there's another one that says this is how you're going to say it. And once you get in front of a camera and get in front of an audience, and your body language and your tone and your energy and all those things play a role as well. And some
Right.
people are better at it than others, but it can be a learned activity.
Absolutely. And that's why they need coaches.
Well, this is why they need coaches. This is why Speakertunity plays such a big role in what's available for those people that are out there. And again, Speakertunity is providing a resource to help this these speakers, these transformational people that want to make an impact, that want to make a difference in the world. You're there to help them do that, and you offer both the training. Clearly, they can get the training. They can just sign up for Speakertunity, but you also offer some additional coaching levels to really move them all the way to where they want to go. And that's pretty exciting.
Well, the best businesses are ones that actually respond to market demand. And that's what we've done. Every time somebody says to us, or we hear enough times, well, do you do this too? Or can you supply this as well? That's how a business grows. You move into the area, you follow the breadcrumbs essentially. And so that's what we've tried to do. So
Yeah,
we
you
build
deliver
one thing, and then we say, okay, this is what we're being asked to do. Can we build that too?
deliver what the market wants. Deliver what the market needs. They'll beat a path to your door. That's how it works.
Exactly.
So, listen, I really appreciate you coming on the show and sharing your insights and sharing your tips and telling us a little bit about who you are and what you are. Um, Tell me, what do you think of this format? I mean, we met a few weeks ago, and here you are on the show. What do you think of the experience?
I think it's terrific. And it's really wonderful to be able to have an open and loose conversation in a structured format where people can access it easily and grow with the information. And I am just honored and great appreciation for you sharing the time that you have, because I know that there's lots of people you could pick for allowing me to be part of this.
Well, once again, I appreciate your time. I appreciate your energy, and I wish you all the best of luck. I know that we'll continue to talk and work together through Speakertunity, and who knows what else will come up.
That would be great. People can just reach out to me at Jackie@speakertunity.com. They can find me at Speakertunity.com. And if they're interested in the concierge program, they can find that at SpeakertunityConcierge.com. So
All right, and information at the end of this video.
great.
Jackie, thanks again for those of you that are watching. Thanks for joining us, and stay tuned for another episode of Better Business Results next week.